Hey guys, this is the Walking Dead video. Now, I'm not going to talk about episode 3, mainly because it just came out. It literally came out just before I went to PAX, so I haven't got to play it yet. Where I'm going to just tell you, really this is actually just a panel video. I actually recorded the Walking Dead Q&A panel, and it was really cool. They answered a lot of questions. They talked about the process of writing the story, and just the overall, what goes into making a Walking Dead episode. Sorry for the kind of shakiness of it. I was holding it above my head like this. I didn't have a stand with me. When I go to PAX, I am just one guy. Like none of my friends want to hold the cameras for me. But no, they were really cool. I even got to ask them a question later on when I went to their booth. I tried to get up in line for the questions, but they didn't have enough time. But anyway, here is the video. Now, the two guys, the bald guy and the black-haired guy, these guys are the designers and story, I believe the story integrators, like the choice integrators for the game. And the guy on the left is the story consultant for episode 3 and writer for 5 and so on. He's like one of the main writers for the games. And then the guy on the right was the host, this Will Wheaton wannabe dude. So anyway, here it is, the Walking Dead, the Talking Dead Walking Dead panel from PAX. Oh, and one thing, since episode 3 it just came out, there was a lot of jokes at the beginning through the panel, for these guys to not talk about episode 3, and which was really nice of them not to do that, but they kept on having to stop themselves because they almost talked about it, and it was really funny.
Look, Gary Witta. Gary wrote episode 4. He's also the story consultant on the entire Walking Dead season. And Gary wrote Book of Eli. Am I embarrassing you, Gary? Stop writing notes about me. You wrote Book of Eli.
It's important that we show this. This is me writing down no F3 to myself, because they're all in my head like the same thing. So it's like no F3 and then Gary added or 4 of them.
So then when Lee explodes, we just said no F5.
I'm sorry, Clementine. That's
Alright, let's move on. So, Jake and Sean, tell me exactly, what do you guys do on a day-to-day basis? What are your responsibilities on Walking Dead?
I would also like to know that.
Yes, I have no idea what you guys do. It's like our 6th interview together, and I'm like, I still don't know what these guys do.
Kevin's actually going to transcribe everything we say and go, oh, okay, that's what we hired you guys to do. Jake and I... Okay, I am generally in charge of sort of the story and writing, but we've done a lot of it together with Gary. And we lead the team in sort of how to make some creative choices in the game. It sounds like we don't do anything. Yeah, it's just there's just a lot of work to do. We kind of did like at the beginning, we were talking about making a Walking Dead game. It was kind of just Jake and I in a room, waiting for somebody to pay attention to us, and then our friend Chuck Jordan was contracted to come in and give us some ideas too, which was awesome. So we sat around for weeks and weeks and weeks with a lot of whiteboards and post-it notes trying to figure out what the hell happens across the season. And then at some point, people started giving us people to actually make a game, so... Yeah, we pitched the story to Robert Kirkman, and then had lunch with Gary, and we're like, oh, he's a cool dude who likes games, and knows The Walking Dead, and all this sort of worked out. It was really great. But day to day, it's a lot of playing the episodes, giving a lot of direction, giving feedback. I go into like a weird cave if I'm writing, so
that's what real writers are. You whip them into
we've constructed a small cave. Yeah, yeah.
You do sort of sit there with headphones, just staring at your screen, and then if anyone asks you a question, you go,
fling your feces behind you.
It's kind of annoying when you're actually trying to
Sorry.
We just want to go to lunch. I'm like, oh, yeah. But that's pretty much it. Does.
I totally like
this is one of those ones we would do.
Yeah, Sean and I would do the story together, the sort of core design aspects of the game, and then we end up splitting up so that Sean writes a lot of script, and I bother a lot of artists and occasionally poke programmers in the eye until something happens. And then those occasionally switch weirdly, except that I don't actually write dialogue. Don't ask me to write dialogue in the game.
Wow. All right, let's move on to Gary. So Gary, give us a history of where you come from. You were a games journalist and you went from that to script writer? How does one make that transition?
I still don't know. The way I did it was kind of mostly by accident. I was very, very, very fortunate to be in the right place at the right time on a number of occasions. But yeah, I was the editor-in-chief of PC Gamer. I grew up loving video games and also loved movies. And after having worked on PC Gamer for many years, managed to kind of jack that in and go off and go to Hollywood and write movies. And I've had some success doing that. But still, I've always loved video games. It's always kind of been in my DNA. And obviously, as video games have become more cinematic, and you've seen in movies and video games and TV shows all kind of coalesce and share storytelling disciplines, it worked out that I was able to kind of come back and apply what I had learned as a screenwriter back towards video games, which has been my first love. And Robert Kirkman and I are friends, and I managed to twist his arm when they were shooting the pilot into being a zombie in the pilot episode, which was kind of cool. To be one of the zombies that ate Rick's horse, that was cool.
No, wait, I have to stop. Do we have pictures of this? I hear that we have photos someplace.
Yeah, so that was... They did an amazing job on me. They had so many zombies in the horde scene in that Atlanta pilot. And I didn't know what kind of zombie I was going to be. That's like what they call an alpha, which is like full contact lenses, full prosthetic makeup. And there are zombies that just kind of have these crappy masks that don't look as good, that are at the back of the crowd. And I was waiting to be assigned Alpha, Beta, Charlie, whatever kind of zombie. And Greg Nicotero, who's the makeup genius on the show, who also did all the blood and guts for the Book of Eli, so I knew him already. He's like, what are you doing here? I said, oh, Curtin's going to let me be a zombie. I don't know what I'm going to be yet. He's like, come with me. And Greg did all the makeup for me personally, and so I got to have a really good time. There's a couple of scenes when Rick's being chased through Atlanta in the pilot episode where you get to see me pulling down off the horse, so that was pretty cool. And then because of all that, and because Robert and I have the same agent, when they were doing the video game and the comic book license fell to Telltale, somebody called me and said, you should have a conversation with these guys. And initially I was very skeptical because I kind of thought initially that it could be just like an act. I didn't know who was developing it. Maybe it's an action game where there isn't really much of an opportunity to tell a story. But as soon as it said Telltale, I was like, sign me up, because I know these guys, I know the kind of stories, the kind of games that they make. I mean, it's right there in the title, they tell stories. And met with Sean and Jake and kind of clicked immediately. And they already had a lot of the broad strokes of the story laid down. So like episodes 1 and 2 particularly, I actually had very little input on those. Like the creation of the characters like Lee and Clementine, the main cast of characters, that's all these guys. But as we get later into the season, episode 3, particularly 4, which I wrote, and 5, which I had a lot of input in the story,
No, so I really liked it. Sorry I ended it really early. It sucked because if I kept it on a little bit longer, it would have talked about when he was when he was in the makeup. He had a story that apparently that he got to eat the horse at the end of the first episode, and so when apparently he like was grabbing onto this intestine thing, and at one point he bit into it, and all of a sudden these beads came out, and they look like anal beads. I wish I recorded that. You can probably see it on one of the other panels. It's so friggin' funny. You got this from the panel once you saw it afterwards, and the thing that's really interesting about it is the fact that there's only a limited edition of these. And that's kind of cool. It's really nice. It's it says basic, so I really enjoy it when I frame it, considering how limited edition it is. I asked them a question about what are their views on zombie stereotypes, like the ninja zombie that doesn't make a sound, or just the cliches of stupid characters and whatnot. And they said they kind of parody that even in the first episode when you were trying to get to that girl up in the apartment room, and that you were killing all these zombies, like, oh, don't make a sound or they'll hear us, except you smash a car, you shoot a gun, and none of them still hear you. And they said that was like kind of their parody of zombie parody. So it was they were really cool. I really liked the panel. My friend who had never played the game before was there with me, and he actually even said he enjoyed it. So yeah, that's all for me, guys. I'm probably going to go and talk about Assassin's Creed. Now, there isn't, next video, there isn't much to say about it. They didn't even have a demo of it. They just had a presentation and really cool looking hatchet thing. So I'll show you guys later. Anyway, that's all for me. See you guys later.